Hello, hello, hello again. So happy you spend time to entertain and to observe my guest, Dr. SaLee Amina. She's a very special missionary. And one thing that I wanted to say publicly, that I appreciate your devotion to the commitment and to the mission to bring peace and tranquility and healing to those who suffer from 9/11. People are still suffering from 9/11, but I appreciate you volunteering your time to do a tour around the country to all of the Veteran Administration initiatives to bring healing and peace. You're the only one in the world that I know who volunteer your time to do that. And I think something should be said about it, and that's one of the main reasons why I wanted you to come and participate in this particular show.
Thank you, Reverend Clark. Thank you so much. Many people do not know that, actually.
Nope.
You know, it's funny, if you work for billionaires, they think you're a billionaire. You know, if you work for famous celebrities, they think you're some famous celebrity. But in truth, I have never, ever, ever, ever been paid 1 cent for any ambassadorial duties that I've performed. They are from my heart, and I love humanity. And that is my gift to humanity, because my gift of life was given to me by the Creator. And with that package, there were certain responsibilities. With responsibility and power comes obligations and duties. And I personally feel responsible for making this world a better place because I've been here. I believe in living a purposeful and meaningful life. I believe that just any inanimate object can occupy space. We're here for a higher purpose, a higher calling. And that's what I've been doing as an ambassador. I've never been paid for it, especially when they hear that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in 1998, the Deputy Consul General in Los Angeles, Abdullah Al-Awad was his name, and he was under Ambassador Mohammed Al-Saloom, who was under Ambassador Bandar. And you know, Bandar was great, 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 still is, great,
Yeah.
great, great. And his family is great. Prince Bandar, who is an Al Saud prince, his daughter, Rima, is now the ambassador of the Saudi Arabia to the United States.
Yes.
How wonderful is that?
Wonderful, beautiful.
And his son is ambassador to the UK.
I didn't know that.
Yes,
Okay.
he's an amazing man. And I know that you know, Reverend Clark, how many humanitarian projects with which I've been involved. And typically it comes out of my pocket. And you know how hard it is to get other people to write a check for something. I know you know that, being a minister.
Absolutely.
That's a tough call. And for me, I was typically paying everything myself to do all of these humanitarian causes. Actually, the only time someone else came in voluntarily was Prince Bandar. He cut a check for $5,000, and the budget was $150,000. I made sure that everything was done, but it was not a matter of someone bankrolling me or a matter of people sending me donations. I don't have any nonprofit organization, and I don't have any church. I'm one human being who believes that I have a mission in life, and I'm doing my very best to fulfill it in every manner of work I do. I incorporated that also in my career. I know that you know that my main career is as an international investment advisor. And I discovered that the only thing that made me feel really, really, really good about making multi-million and multi-billion-dollar investments was when it could really help a community,
Yes.
when there was an element of social responsibility,
Yes.
when it created enormous amounts of jobs, especially for those who are not easily employable,
Yes.
and especially with the people who are underserved and underprivileged and the minorities and women. And I just love doing stuff like that.
I know you do.
So I incorporated into my work as well as into being an ambassador.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I tell you, you helped me tremendously. See, my 19-year-old cousin was a sailor on the U.S. Cole, and they were in the Middle East, stopping on the ship to put fuel, gas in the ship. And
terrorists bombed them.
yes,
I know.
and
Innocent lives.
it messed me up because that was my first cousin, and I've been in tears for years. But when I met Dr. SaLee Amina, she was one person who helped me overcome, because I hated Muslims and I hated all of that, because my family was hit by terrorism and by that particular nation. So you helped me move to an area of forgiveness, because I was having some difficult issues. And I know I'm a minister, but I'm human. But, you know, that was blood that was taken away from my family at 19 years old, McDaniel. But
Yes.
I appreciate the words, the counsel, the advice, and helped me to move forward and not to be stuck in that situation. And that's why I appreciate your tour, healing and remediation with the veteran, because so many people from 9/11 are suffering. I was suffering from U.S. Cole.
Yes, and I recall seeing a picture of you with President Clinton when you received that award for your cousin.
Yeah.
And I knew that that impacted you profoundly. I knew that you spent many tearful nights.
Yeah.
However, death is something that happens to every person. Nobody gets out of Earth alive. Absolutely no one. We have two choices: drop dead or get old. Neither of them are very good. And in my viewpoint, you know, if we're going to go, and we're all going to go, might as well go with purpose. And that cousin of yours was fulfilling a wonderful, magnanimous purpose, and that is to be admired, and that is what lives on. Every veteran, I'm sorry, my father also was a veteran, God bless him. He was a very proud United States Marine. In fact, I'm named after two of his fallen war heroes. And veterans, when they sign on that dotted line, even if they are never employed in active combat, even if they never see one war, they know when they sign that line, it could happen. They know it could happen.
Yeah.
And they know they may not come back alive, and they're willing to do that. They're willing to give up their lives for complete strangers.
Absolutely.
That's something to be admired no matter what. And when I see veterans sleeping on the sidewalks,
Oh my
I
goodness.
get very upset.
Yeah, I know.
I get very upset.
Yes, yes.
As you know, I've housed many veterans, and every time there's tarps on sale and tents on sale, and my kids make fun of me that I've got the only Mercedes in Beverly Hills with a roof rack, because I'm always bringing things for the homeless and feeding the homeless, and especially the veterans. There should not be one veteran who is homeless. There should not be even one veteran who's homeless. We are a very rich country.
Yes, we are.
We
Yes,
need
are.
to take care of the people who took care of us, because
so,
freedom is not free.
so true.
They paid the price.
Yes.
And we need to keep saying thank you. We cannot turn our backs on them. I know what you mean when you're talking about the PTSD from 9/11, the PTSD that you experienced because of losing your cousin in the cold terrorist bombing. But when we speak of terrorists, let's understand we're speaking of mean, nasty, bad folks.
Absolutely.
They come in all denominations, in all religions, in all cultures, in all nationalities, in all genders. It's not that, oh, they're Muslim, therefore they're terrorist. Oh, they come from the Middle East, therefore they must be bad. They're all bad guys, and they hate us, and they hate America. We've had on media people saying, oh, the Muslims just hate America, and they hate freedom, and they hate Americans. That simply is not true. It simply is not true. The warmongers, those who capitalize on hate, they spread those dirty lies.
Yeah,
And it's up to people like me to correct those misunderstandings.
that's true.
There's a lot of misunderstanding about Islam. For example, people told me they don't pray to God, they pray to Allah, a different God. And I say, well then, do you think the French pray to Dieu, a different God? Or the Spanish pray to Dios, a different God? Or the Croatians, they pray to Bogo, a different God? No, it's one God, and that's just the language that says that God. If you're a Christian Arab, you say Allah. If you're a Jewish Arab, you say Allah. That's the language.
Yes. Well, I thank you so very much.
And I thank you too, and thank you for the work you do.
You sharing your experience. And this is why you were recommended by our committee, and Dr. Melissa Clark in her days had planned to make sure, for me, to make sure that I got you a certificate of recognition from the Allegheny County of Pittsburgh and the Black History Achievement Award for your dedication to
thank you.
make sure you get a chance to see that.
Thank you very much.
Turn that around.
Well, that's quite lovely. Thank you. That's quite lovely.
I want to make sure you receive that because you have been a model to so many, an example to so many.
Thank you.
And we appreciate the work that you do. And I wish I could write you a check for $1 million, but there are people in Pittsburgh can do that. And I wouldn't be surprised that they're not observing this particular program.
I'd be surprised. I don't know, it's never happened to me, but
Yeah.
you know, you may bring me some great good luck. Who knows?
Well, I'll tell you this. Wonderful things happen when you get into the mindset of where God is.
God is everywhere.
And God is everywhere. And He's here, and He can make a way out of no way for all of us, as He's been doing down through the years, keeping us. So I appreciate you again for yielding your busy schedule, coming all the way from Los Angeles, waiting in the airport many hours to come to the Black History Achievement Awards and to give a tribute to President Jimmy Carter and Rosalynn Carter, because if you miss that event, you miss something that you would never experience before. This was historical for all of us. So again, we thank you for coming and giving yourself to ministry and to your mission to help others.
Thank you. And thank you, Reverend Clark, for giving yourself to a ministry. I know that you're a very sincere gentleman. You care very much about the community. Blacks have contributed so much more to history than anyone was ever in the past willing to acknowledge. And I'm just so very, very, very pleased that finally we're starting to be more conscientious of minorities and of granting equal justice, equal fairness for all. Doesn't mean we're there yet. We have a long, long, long trek to follow. But we're getting so much closer. Things are getting better. And I'm trying to be an optimist because I want there to be an earth here for our future generations.
Yes.
I want us to be guardians and stewards of this planet and of this civilization. I want us to flourish and thrive and prosper. I want us to all find happiness and health, community, love, compassion. You were talking about forgiveness as concerns the coal. And my favorite dude, ever since a child, I used to tell my mom, well, Jesus was such a cool dude, Mom. And he was just so great, and he came along and said love and forgiveness, and that was something special in his time. He was a Jewish rabbi, and the Jewish theology didn't teach that. He taught it. He brought something new. I'm going to teach you a new commandment. Love God. Above all else, love God. And after that, and it's pretty much equal unto it, love your neighbor as yourself.
Amen.
The golden rule has been around a long time, but he really drove it home by example. And Muslims believe that. And I love the fact that we now have excellent relations in the Middle East. I love the fact that some of our strongest strategic partners are in the Middle East. In fact, you were speaking about President Jimmy Carter. He invited, when King Fahd, God rest his soul, when he was crown prince, he invited him to the White House. And he also visited Sheikh Zayed in the United Arab Emirates. And as you know, Sheikh Zayed had hired me back in 1980.
So true.
That was rare for an American president to step out like that. President Jimmy Carter also visited Iran and Egypt and France and Belgium and Jordan and India.
Yeah,
and he was an ambassadorial president, or a very presidential ambassador. Well, thank you so much for inviting me, Reverend, and I wish you every bit of good wishes, good blessings, good love, good life for your future. Wealth. We forgot about the wealth. Well, to me, the greatest wealth is in our spirit. I hope to always have a wealthy spirit. Amen.
Thank you very much for participating in this particular program.
Thank you for having me, sir.